Welcome to Game Week with the Compas. It's NFL Week 13. It's the preview show where we make all our betting picks here for the NFL schedule, and it's the Thanksgiving schedule. According to some, experts, this is when football really matters. This is when the big boys come out to play. Who's the real contender? I don't know if I agree with that. I think a lot of teams have been showing out the last couple of weeks. I say Week 10 is when the sweet spot starts. But hey, you want to say big boy football starts on Thanksgiving? That's okay. And speaking of Thanksgiving, I'm out here on the West Coast and in the LA area, and it's freaking 84 degrees out here. Where's my fall weather? Where's my turkey weather? Where's my turkey trot weather? I don't know. I just want to talk about the weather because I'm stalling. So, anyways, it's Game Week with the Compas here. And if you've been watching the show, you know by now that I like to take some dogs against the spread. I'm a plus guy. I'm that guy. Victor's a little more, more balanced, minus, pluses. I take a lot of pluses. So, with that being said, for today's tip or lesson of the week, I like a lot of the dogs for the Thanksgiving schedule. I like the dog on Black Friday. I'm not saying straight up. I like the number. I'm all about the numbers. I look for the value in the number, but I will say this: from the four favorites, from Bears, Eagles on Friday to starting on Thursday, Packers, Lions, Cowboys, Chiefs, Ravens, Bengals. By the way, Joe Burrow is coming back. I could see all the favorites winning, but I don't think they're gonna cover. It's gonna be a good amount of people or teams covering, but I'm gonna say one team's gonna win outright, and I'm gonna go with those Green Bay Packers. The Packers have been awful against the spread, but mostly when they're laying 6.5 points or more, they're actually a dog. And now that I think about it, maybe a dog for the first time all year. We got to fact check that one. So a weird roll for them. They were the favorites in week one against the Lions. I think it was -2.5. They covered, they won, they beat down the Lions. The week after that, they played the Commanders, -2.5 again. They won. And then they got a bunch of games where they were laying a touchdown. Maybe there was one in between where they were, -3. So I think it might be the first time they're a dog. I can't believe I just thought about that right now. Regardless, they are my pick for the upset outright victory of the week. But look at all the numbers. I'm not trying to force you to go with the Packers here again. I think the Packers, have been bad against the spread. They did cover last week against the Minnesota Vikings. I picked the Vikings. That was not a good look for me. Remember, I hold myself accountable here. I talk about my losses and my wins. I'm not Floyd Mayweather, where I want to show off the wins that I get in the betting market. Sorry for the shot there, Floyd Mayweather, Money May. But yeah, I could see the Bears covering for 7 against the Eagles. Maybe the Eagles win that one. I could see the Bengals and Joe Burrow covering, +7 in a divisional matchup. I can even see the Cowboys covering +3.5 against the Chiefs. They looked good last week against the Eagles. So to me, I like the number here. And also, we are live for Gaming with the Compas, the betting show here on Compas on the Beat. This is the first time we're trying this because there's a 10 a.m. game tomorrow morning for Thanksgiving. So it didn't make any sense to wait. Upload it, all that crap. So if you're watching here, comment, by the way. But also, if you hate seeing my face, I'm not alone. Victor Javier Corona, how you doing? Where are you, sir?
Doing good. And yes, this is the first game, Gilbert, that the Packers are an underdog this season. And I just put it on there. The Packers last played as an underdog in November 2024 game against the Detroit Lions, where they
Wow.
won as a 4-6
Oh,
underdog. There you go.
so they beat the Lions on Thanksgiving last year. No, wait, or was that that was the year I forgot. Was that really last year? Okay, I'm blanking here. I don't know if that was the one they won, but you said they cover. So it's
Yep.
been a long time since they were dogs here. I want to say the one that they beat the Lions on Thanksgiving was a year before that. I could be wrong because I think last year the Lions and the Packers, the Lions won both games because Jordan Love was 0-2 against Detroit, 0-2 against Minnesota, 0-2 against Philadelphia. So the one they won, I think, was 2023.
Yeah, and
With
they, like I
Thanksgiving, at
said,
least.
they covered it. Looks like, but they haven't been the underdog all season until this week. So you are correct about that, at least.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that game, I think, here first, Victor. So I'll ask you for your
Yes.
thoughts there. But overall, I do like the numbers for this holiday slate here, the 3 on Thanksgiving and the 1 on Black Friday. I know that's my habit, my trait. I go for the numbers here and I take a lot of pluses, but uh, I can't really bring myself to pick more outright winners because I can see the Eagles taking the Bears to school. I can see the Ravens handling the Bengals because they don't have good defense. I could see the Chiefs coming back and being all the way back and beating the surprise Cowboys, and obviously I can see the Lions handling business at home because you do most of the times when you're this even, you get to split, and the Packers already won the first one, so it's hard to pick an outright winner. But I'm gonna go with the Packers here, Victor. At least say this: you think there's gonna be at least one outright dog this holiday week?
Yeah, and I'm with you. I kind of the Cowboys play really well at home. I like that one as a dog. I don't want to. I don't. I'm not ready to believe in the Bears yet. So I kind of want to wait and see on that one. And I'm really interested to get into this Detroit Lions game against the Packers, Gilbert, which is our main event. But before we get there, I want to ask you this because it is Thanksgiving. Everybody's getting ready. This is a betting show. So what are your odds here in terms of leftovers? How many times are you going to hit the leftovers this weekend?
Well, that's a tricky one for me because I had to work, so that means I have to leave early for Thanksgiving, and
Yeah.
so my I guess my challenge is packing the leftovers. How much can I take home? Because if I'm taking a bunch home, I'm gonna keep eating. So you know, I'm tasked with working for SI, the Bengals and the Ravens night game. So I might visit the family for the afternoon that the most hated teams in the world, Chiefs Cowboys matchup, and that's where I'm gonna try to get my a plate or two, and then after that I'm gonna pack a bunch to go. So I might even get leftovers, in the middle of Ravens and the Bengals. So I'll say 4 plates throughout the day. Two during Chiefs and the Cowboys, and then two during the nightcap.
See, I'm on the other side. I got to work in the morning, so I'm probably not gonna get to the food until like 3 o'clock West Coast time. So I might say three. And I guess my other question to you before we move on here and we move on to football in terms of football. I mean, in terms of the food that we're talking about here, are you more of a sides person during Thanksgiving, or do you like the turkey or ham kind of situation, or you just like whatever the fam's making, I'm gonna eat no matter what?
Yeah, I guess I'm not really picky. I don't want to come out like a racist here, but I like the white meat on the turkey instead of the dark meat. And if I see a lot of that with the white meat, I'm gonna go ahead and take all that. And if I'm
Yeah.
kind of a little late and people have taken the good stuff, then I'll go more for the sides here. So
Uh,
uh, I think stuffing is underrated. I like it. I know a lot of people don't like that. Obviously, coming from a Mexican household, you kind of get some of those Mexican sides. So
oh
I
yeah.
like all that stuff too. I think the tamales is more for Christmas, but I always
Yep.
like when they get a head start for that, or when pozole makes an appearance for Thanksgiving. That's also awesome. My mom likes to do this barbecue chicken thing. I know my siblings are always they're ungrateful, by the way. They give my mom crap for always bringing barbecue chicken for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, I like the diversity in our households. But I think this year I'm gonna probably stop by at the in-laws' house, and I want to say this might be my first Thanksgiving with them. So we'll see how that goes, and I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yeah, I can't wait for a full report when we do Compas next week. Yeah, like we used to do turkey growing up just because my mom didn't really know how to do it. She kind of learned on herself. And then we were like once I guess I kind of grew out of it, we all grew out of it. We just started buying like those rotisserie chickens,
Yeah.
and then we just started doing the sides. And then one of my friends who became a chef, he gave me a recipe for a ham, and then I've been doing that. So I'm in charge of doing the ham now. It's been about a decade or more now. So yeah, that's what we've been doing for Thanksgiving now for a while now.
At least you cook. You make an effort. I just
Yeah,
bring the
yeah.
beer and here's some money and do what you got to do. But
Yeah.
eventually, I got to step up my game and do some cooking.
All right, we have a great show for you guys. We're gonna get into the numbers here. Gilbert gives us what the odds makers are saying about some of these lines, and we usually start here with two games, but I've added a little one because I've seen the lines kind of moving here, and I want to know why this line keeps moving, Gilbert. So let's start off with the main event game of the week, which is the Green Bay Packers at the Detroit Lions. The Lions are 2.5 point favorites here, Gilbert. The over under is 48.5. What are the numbers saying for this matchup? You've already said you like the Packers here as a road dog, but what are the numbers saying? What are the odds makers saying?
Yeah, this matchup has kind of been all over the place. It's been hitting all the betting angles, and when I say that, it's like odds movement. There's been pros versus Joes. There's been sharp action. I think the initial line, and I spoke to Lamar Mitchell again from BetMGM, who was kind of gave me a head start, last week because Thanksgiving is hard. It's hard to get a hold of odds makers or anybody during that time of week, because of that time of year, because people want to go, enjoy the holiday, get started early. They're traveling, whatever. And I'm like, okay, what's going to be the opening line you think here for Lions and the Packers? And he nailed it. Yeah, -2.5 here for Detroit, a slight favorite. That was before he even saw the Lions, coming back against New York and the Packers beating down Minnesota. But then, I texted him and I followed up and I said, okay, what's it looking like right now? And he said, man, the Sharps pounded that number. Or sorry, he said it was Lions -3. That's what that was initial line. And he said the Sharps took it. They wanted the field goal there, and maybe it was like a couple hours up there, and it went to -2.5 immediately. So when it went to -2.5, the Sharps didn't really like that number there. But the public the whole week has been on Detroit. They liked the number. They were okay with -3 or -2.5. They've been taking it, and Lamar said that it'll be tough to get that number back up to -3. I've seen it at other places, that have -3. So if you don't see it, go ahead and jump on that. If you like the Packers, by the way, +3. So there's been some sharp action there, but for the right price. So it's kind of a little concerning that they don't want the -2, sorry, +2.5. They really want that extra half number for the field goal, so they're not too confident there. Again, betting's all about the numbers here, so I understand that standpoint. Here we got the rules here, and we follow a certain odds book, and we just say, okay, whatever we put on the sheet here, that's the number we got. I was hoping to get -3, or sorry, +3. I got Packers +2.5, so I'll take them. I wish I got the half point there. That's okay too. Again, I'm willing to bet there's going to be one outright dog. I can't make a case for the Bears, Bengals, and the Cowboys, but I can for the Packers. I do not like that the Packers already won, because when teams are this close in a divisional matchup, it tends to even out. And in Detroit's at home now, that's probably why they're the favorite here. It kind of gives the Packers a sign of respect here that the Lions are not, -3 or above, as a home team here. But that's more about the Sharps trying to pound the number there. I'm not too confident, but I'm gonna be willing to bet they win their matchup. The Lions look pretty vulnerable against the Giants. That one game went to overtime. They pretty much needed their best effort at the end to come back. They were trailing in the fourth quarter. They were trailing all game. Something's off with Jared Goff, and now you got to face Michael Parsons' defense. To me, that's where I'm taking the chance here. So I'm gonna go with the Packers here. I know a lot of people like the Lions here. The Lions are my Super Bowl pick. And I've been critical of Green Bay when they're heavy favorites, but they're dogs here. I like them in the spot here. And it'll be a big time victory for Jordan Love to sweep the Detroit Lions here.
Yeah, and I kept thinking about this game this week in terms of kind of looking ahead, and like you said, it was a lot higher at the beginning when it opened. I think it was at 3.5. You could have found this line, and it's been betted down to 2.5. I guess the narrative for this matchup, Gilbert, and I'll start off with the Lions here, is this is a big game for them because as of right now they're out of the playoff picture, right? I mean, they're sitting at as the eighth seed, and one of the things coming into the season for me was that schedule. That first place schedule looked just tough. And I was with you. You said, hey, don't forget, this is still, Dan Campbell. You got to give him the credit he deserves here. Even with the two new coordinators, they should be able to be good this season. But my biggest fear for them was the schedule. I knew Dan Campbell could rally this team, and then he took over play calling, and it's kind of been up and down, Gilbert. and
Hmm.
that's kind of been my thing is they haven't looked. I mean, last week Jamison Williams didn't even get any catches last week. It all went to Amon-Ra St. Brown, and it just feels like Jared Goff just likes to go to one player, and that's where he kind of gets in trouble. And I mean, Jameer Gibbs, like I don't understand why he's not getting the ball more too. He's like one of the most electric players in the league right now. He is the most electric player in the league right now, and so I just don't understand what they're doing. And then I just saw Frank Ragnow. He's coming out of retirement, Gilbert. And so that's another thing, but I don't think he's going to play in this game. The paperwork's in. We'll see when he's back because that offensive line hasn't been as good as it's been the last couple of years. And that was the other reason why I didn't have the Detroit Lions making the playoffs. But I'm gonna take a chance here, Gilbert. I'm gonna take a chance with the Detroit Lions at home. They're gonna be looking for revenge. They know what to expect from the Green Bay Packers. It's gonna be a close game. I like the Lions to win here by a field goal because that 2.5. And I'm with you. If this would have been a bigger line here, I would have taken the Packers to cover. But I just think that the Lions they really need this game to keep their playoff hopes alive. I know there's still a ways to go, but I just feel like their schedule is going to get tougher, especially with a lot of division games down the stretch. These teams are going to beat up on each other. It feels like in the NFC North.
Yeah, it's a little similar to that Chiefs Colts game last week where the Chiefs were the home team. They needed the game more. And they won, but there was a better number there on that one. I took the Colts and I got the cover because there was a better number. You don't get the better number here with the Packers. I get that. But there's just something off about this team. And I know I said that about Kansas City last year, but they've been trying to give Gibbs the ball more. And I'm not sure if that's the best method. You kind of lose your physical approach when you don't have David Montgomery involved. And I have Montgomery
It's
in my other
true.
league, and he's like 30% of the carries, sorry, 30% of the offensive snaps. Like he's not playing as much. And they don't really get him involved. It's like I get Gibbs is your best player, but this team is better when they're both involved, and he hasn't really been involved. Maybe they just see the difference in talent, and they're trying to find a way to give Gibbs the ball more, but also you kind of get out of the rhythm. And then it's weird that Jared Goff is not taking deep shots here. Like you have Jameson Williams, a burner. You got guys like Isaac Tesla, who I want to see more of. And obviously you got Amon-Ra St. Brown, who's not much of a burner. But he could play down the field, and you could find creative ways to give him the ball down there. And then obviously the Laporta injury is going to cost him, but I'm not sure if he's going to be back this week. I have not kept tabs on that, but he's been out for a while. So this team is just kind of out of sorts right now. I know Brock Wright's a good tight end too as well. So I just don't trust his offense against his Packers defense, but I also don't trust Jared Goff. So sorry, Jordan Love. So to me, it's a tough one, and it'll be funny if I get it wrong here, but I'm gonna bet there's gonna be one dog to win from these 4 games. Maybe it's not the Packers, but I'll take credit here if one dog wins because everybody seems to be. I've seen picks everywhere. Like it's all Lions, Chiefs, uh, Eagles, and the Ravens. I'm like, really? Like these games are actually pretty competitive. I just don't see that. I'm just gonna take a chance here. I don't feel too confident, but I see your point of view, Vic.
Yeah, and I mean we'll see what happens. I'm with you though. I mean, I feel like either at least one, you're right, is gonna win here, but I would not be surprised if two of them, at least,
Mm,
two of the dogs here either cover or they win outright, Gilbert. It just feels that way, especially with how the season's been going. I mean, you can't just rely on the favorites here and what we saw last week too. I mean,
yeah.
you just never know. All right, Gilbert, moving on here to our co-main event. We have the Kansas City Chiefs at the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys are underdogs here by 3.5. The over under is 52.5. What are the numbers saying? What are the odds makers telling you about this game? And I mean, is this appropriately like the line that we should be in? Is this the line that we're gonna see the rest of the way until tomorrow?
Yeah, I think so. If it was like a different team that wasn't as popular, maybe the line would have gone up for the dog here because everybody's like, "Oh, the Chiefs are back. They beat the Colts," and you know that's the narrative. People love the Kansas City Chiefs. That people always are gonna put money on Patrick Mahomes here. But the Cowboy fans support, and it's kind of like the Raiders. Like, when the Raiders are involved, the Raider fans are going to put money. But it's different when your team has hope. It's different when your team has some optimism and they're looking good. Oh, 2-game winning streak. Here's all my money. The boys are back. The America's team is back. They're going to beat up on Taylor Swift's men's team. So there's been a lot of two-way action. I'm hearing it might be the most betted on game of the season in a long time. So, and it's like the perfect time of the day. It's the 1:30 game. It's not the morning game. It's not the night game. People are gonna put money on these teams. And also, say you're like a fan of the Eagles or the Giants or the Commanders, you're gonna bet your money on the Chiefs. Say you're a fan of the Chargers, Raiders, and Broncos, you're gonna put your money on the Cowboys. Like these teams are just, you love them or you hate them. And
Yeah.
it's a game that's tricky when it comes to finding the storyline or the narrative here, because there's two-way action right here. But I will buy into this Cowboys new look defense, and they seem to be rallying around the tragedy that occurred with Marshawn Nealon. Brian Schottenheimer, man, I think he needs more credit for bringing the team together. He is definitely a leader. People like to crap on Jerry Jones, but I think he saw the post that he had on this team and he promoted with it. And people said this was a wrong approach. And Schottenheimer, to his credit, has gotten the offense to be in sync. He is rallying the team during some adversity when they lost Michael Parsons. I like everything about him. I want to see more from him. I know he got a raw deal to start the year, but now with incorporating Quentin Williams and Kenny Clark, and I got to get this guy's name right, Osa Odigwe. I know I butchered it. They
Yeah.
got 3 guys in the interior, and he's letting Matt Eberflus find the right combination. So I like it. I just think they're more built for next year. They're building momentum. I don't think they're gonna win this game. But I'll take a chance here on the Cowboys being at home. I like the plus 5 over the field goal line here. Defense is playing better, and then you know more credit to Schottenheimer. He's kind of found a way to hone in George Pickens. Not really, because he's still out drinking or whatever you want to say, miss team bus.
Yeah.
But they know how to give him the ball. And I think when Pickens doesn't get the ball, that's when he's like out of it. He's like, I hate this. I hate football. I hate my team. Dak Prescott's giving him the ball. That's what he could not get that football in Pittsburgh. They did not know how to feature him as a down the field threat. They do in Dallas. But again, I'm not gonna keep bragging about this team because I did like what Kansas City did defensively to Indianapolis. You've been on how they pretty much shut down Daniel Jones and Jonathan Taylor a week ago. I think that defense has given them a new spark. They looked a little tired early on. I'm still not a believer in Mahomes and his offense. Yeah, obviously, Mahomes is a great quarterback, but I just think that offense is out of sorts right now. But I can see Dak Prescott having trouble against that defense. So I'm not 100%, but I like the number again, like I said at the top of the show. So give me the plus 3.5 for Dallas here.
And Gilbert, this is the game I like for the Cowboys here. I like them to win straight
Wow.
out, like outright. I last week I told you I like the Chiefs to win that game just because I wasn't sold on the Colts. And it's not that I'm sold on the Cowboys here. I'm just those last 4 the Colts got out to a huge lead against the Chiefs, and you look at the difference in quarterbacks. I'm gonna trust Dak more than I'm gonna trust Daniel Jones here, and the fact that Dak can we know what to expect from the defensive coordinator of the Chiefs. He's gonna blitz. He knows how to he knows how to feel the pressure there when it's gonna come, the simulated pressure, whether he brings it or not, we'll see. But I just like the Cowboys in this game at home too. They play much better. And I'll say this in terms of a narrative, we every as you mentioned, everybody likes to pile on Jerry Jones, but I don't even he might have lost the Micah Parsons trade, whatever you want to say, and then he turns around but man, nobody's talking about the George Pickens trade. Man, they stole him from the
Yeah.
Steelers. The Steelers, like I get it, they were tired of all him being late, just like we see. But sometimes, man, when you put a great player like that with a really good quarterback, this is the stuff you can see. And you're right. If you keep him involved, he's going to be happy. Why do you think that AJ Brown isn't happy? It's because he's not getting the ball. George Pickens is getting the ball. He's gonna be happy here. So yeah, shout out to Jerry Jones. I just don't know if I would pay him all the money, but at least for this year, he won this trade.
Yeah, I think everybody's already pointing to a franchise tag here as the best method because it's hard to commit to that guy. But yeah, you're right. He's playing well. I think you have him in fantasy football, so you know very
Yeah.
well how well he's playing. And yeah, they have something cooking there. I think their offensive line's been a little banged up, but you definitely want to be able to take some shots here against KC. And yeah, people don't want to give the Cowboys credit, but I won't give Jerry the total pass because I think he kind of wasted the first half of the season and it might doom them for the whole year, and then you're kind of costing your whole team a full year. But the arrow's pointing up here, and I think they could probably I want to say they could win 4 out of 2 to end the year here. I don't know if that's gonna be enough to make the playoffs because they're still behind at 5-5-1. 4 victories will get you 9 wins. That won't be enough in the NFC. But hey, they're capable to make a push here, and that's what you want to have right now.
Yeah, and you want to finish strong because that kind of sets up for next year, like you just said. So, you want to see how and Schottenheimer, as you mentioned, he's been really good this season. So, shout out to him for what he's done this season. All right, Gilbert. I did want to ask you before we move on: are you over or under on this 52.5? What are you taking here? Because I thought
Ooh.
about going with the over here, but I just feel like the under just feels right. Like I just do you really see like a big explosion on a short week?
I don't because again I think that the Chiefs defense has found something here. They have new life here. They played lights out against the Colts, and then I like what they're doing defensively in Dallas. I know that secondary is not good, but they're getting a lot of pressure from the interior, and that's helping out the edges. And they need more edges. Like obviously, that's what happened with the Parsons trade here. But the 3 guys in the middle of this rotation, they have something there, and they're getting enough pressure. So I could see Mahomes maybe throwing a pick or a fumble. So I could see maybe not totally low scoring, but it could be like a game where it ends in the 48-49 and just miss it for the two.
Yeah, I'm with you. I do like the under here. I just don't. That's a big number. Every time I'm like, oh, well, the Cowboys defense isn't good, and the Chiefs are going to score, and so is Dallas, and I
Yeah.
think it's going to be the under
People
here.
have not been watching these two defenses the last 2
Yep.
weeks.
Yep. I'm with you. All right, Gilbert. I added a game here, and I like calling it the wild card game of the week, and it's the Houston Texans at the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts are 4.5 point favorites. The over under here is 44.5. And the reason I wanted to bring this one up is because this line, Gilbert, when I first saw it, when I was prepping the show, the rundowns for the two Compas shows, I saw it at 6.5. Then it was 6. Then when I was doing the prep today again, it went down. It was at 4.5 when I put it in. Then I looked again one more time before we hopped on to do this show. It had gone down to 4, Gilbert. So it looks like the either I need an explanation as to what's going on here. I have a theory as to what's going on, but I want to get your perspective on it because this line has dropped. I that's almost 2 points it's dropped since the beginning of the week, Gilbert.
Yeah, I think a lot of times what the odds makers do is like they see that a team, that's a good team that struggles the week before, and it's like either like who needs it more, who's desperate. Well, same thing with who needs a bounce back game, who's going to do better, who's been itching to get back on the field, and I think the Colts being at home, and we've mentioned this before, they do play better at home. They were in
Yep.
Kansas City last week, and that's a game that they let one get away, and they've been stewing about it. So, you know, I think that's why they're favorites here. It just to me the number is too high, and you know, I don't know. I can't really tell if it's been a mix of public and sharp play. Maybe people don't think the Texans are for real, and they're gonna go with the Colts, who are the home team here. Uh, honestly, maybe just the number is too high to go for the Colts to me. But maybe I'm missing something here, and that's sometimes where when I feel like it's too good to be true, I'm like, okay, what's going on here? And I tend to say, if it's too good to be true, I'm gonna stay away. So I think that's the factor. I think the Colts are at home. They need a bounce back game. They feel the pressure, and they're seeing the standings lead shrink every single week. They also have the Jaguars on their tail. So I can see that too. Maybe there was some sharp play when it was like at 3.5 or 3, and it got up, and now it's like, okay, now this number's too high, and it's going to sit here at 4.5. At least I think it's going to sit here. But to me, I just like that Texan defense, and you know, maybe CJ Stroud comes back. I don't know if that's going to be better or not because he's been struggling. And Davis Mills has not done what Brissett has done for the Cardinals, where it's clearly he's a better quarterback. But he's been efficient. You know, he operates kind of slowly, but he knows what he's doing. He's been in Houston for years now. He's been the backup for CJ for 3 years in a row. He knows what they're trying to do there. I know the OC keeps changing, but the D'Amico Ryan's has been there for a while. He's been there before that. He was part of those crappy years after Deshaun Watson got in trouble. And Davis Mills was actually a starter for 2 years. Actually, it was a weird time in
Yep.
Houston. So he's a competent quarterback. He knows what he's doing. So I'm gonna trust that. But I think that's part of the reason why this number is high. People just don't trust him as a quarterback. And then the Colts defense has played better too. He has to deal with Sauce Gardner. So imagine a team that pretty much is really heavily reliant on Nico Collins having to deal with Sauce Gardner. People think you take him away, and it's like, okay, a bunch of rookies and Davis Mill. I think maybe that's the thinking there. It's just people are missing what's going on here. Mills has been decent. He's actually been going to Jaden Higgins more. I know Nico Collins got him through that comeback win against the Jaguars, but he's been getting more of Higgins involved. Woody Marks has been having balance too for the Russian attack. Their O line has actually been better, I think, because they've been more balanced, and Mills has been able to push the ball more. But I get it; it's also the unknown. CJ Stroud might screw that up. I don't know, but I'm going to trust CJ Stroud here if he does play. I think he was a full participant on Wednesday.
Yep.
The thing with CJ, man, you got to spread the ball around. Follow what Davis Mills has done. If you want to go heavy Nico Collins, that's a good approach too. But it's you're facing Sauce Gardner, who he has been burned. But look what the Colts did when the game was a little tough. Mahomes was trying to he was trying to go other ways, and then it kind of let Sauce Gardner get into a rhythm of cool. And then he said, F it, I'm gonna go for She-Rise the whole way. And that's when Sauce got in trouble. So if CJ goes to Nico pretty often, maybe Sauce will let up a couple times here. But I think they have enough weapons to spread it out. But that being said, I know kind of went the whole vouching for this Texas office because they're not that good. I'm trying to find something here. But I'm gonna take the plus 4.5 because of the defense. That's plain and simple. I think this defense has been lights out. Shame on me for kind of forgetting about them. They were just horrendous offensively. They were 0-3. They were kind of a big disappointment, especially CJ Stroud. And I just ignored that defense. But to their credit, man, they were carrying this team. Which is weird. They did let up against the Jaguars before the rally. So maybe they're not totally perfect. But man, when you got Will Anderson Jr. and Daniel Hunter, you're always gonna have a chance.
Yeah, and they're on like a little mini buy too, Gilbert. And so I think what happened, and this is my theory, I think what happened is they were waiting to see whether or not CJ Stroud was gonna fully participate. And I think once you saw that, I think that's why that line kept going down. And like you said,
Hmm.
part of the problem too is the Colts on the other side is that Daniel Jones hasn't looked good in the last couple of weeks. I think people have started to figure him out. Some of those worthy turnover plays that he avoided earlier in the season against terrible competition is now kind of going the other way. And they're starting to figure things out. The other thing I've noticed too, Gilbert, and I don't know if you noticed this, is that Shane Steichen's being a little bit more careful with him. He's not as aggressive as he was earlier in the season, and I think now the pressure's starting to get to them. And this is one team that I would not be surprised if they don't end up winning the division. And just because the division, like they're gonna face the Jaguars and the Texans twice in the next 6 games, and they still have the Seahawks
Yeah.
in between there. So things are gonna get tough for this Colts team. And like I said, I've loved them at home, but I'm with you. I'm taking the 4.5 here with the plus 4.5 with the Texans, and I'm probably taking the under here as well. I think this is gonna be a physical game. I'm really looking forward to watching this game. I want to see what the chess match is going to be here between the Miko Ryans, the defensive coordinator, and Shane Steichen. I think that's where it's going to come down to. and whatever else those two defense, the defense for the Colts and the offense for the Texans is able to muster it out. I think that's what it, and who turns the ball over. I think those turnovers are going to be huge in this game.
Yeah, a little bit on the Colts. If the Colts really struggle offensively against Houston, I'm gonna be out on them. I'm gonna call them frauds because that's what they really had was an elite offense that was just kind of pouring it on teams. That's how they were winning early on. And I get the schedule was a pretty easy for them, but they did struggle against Denver. Let's be real. And in week 2, I think, or week 3,
Yep,
and it was a
they should
bad
have lost
matchup.
that game.
Yeah, Denver just pretty much shot themselves in the foot there. So imagine having to deal with maybe Houston to get in. You have to maybe deal with Denver. Defense is actually making a comeback this late in the season. So if you if your elite offense can't beat some of these top defenses, then what are you really good for? That's supposed to be your weapon of choice here. I know they're playing better defensively, but they're not that good defensively. I know they got Sauce Garner. I know Latu's playing better. I know Anarumo's giving them a spark there with the scheme, but that's not your bread and butter. It's the offense, and if you don't have that, if Jonathan Taylor gets shut down again against Houston, it's time to panic for this team that just gave up 2 first-round picks for Sauce Gardner.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's and like I said, it'll be interesting to see what happens here because if Houston wins, they're right back in it into
Hmm.
winning this division, and so you want to make sure you keep the distance. And the Jaguars, I think, are I forget who they're playing. They're playing the Saints, I think. Who are they playing?
Tennessee Titans.
Tennessee. So yeah, if you lose, you're going to be in a tie with the Jaguars, and you have to face them twice. That's going to be tough there, Gilbert. All right, let's head over to our LA betting market. We'll start off with the Las Vegas Raiders at the Los Angeles Chargers. The Chargers are 9.5 point favorites here. The over under is 40.5. What are the numbers saying for this matchup? I'm sure it's going to be a game I think most people are going to stay away from. Betters will, but if you're a Chargers or a Raiders fan, I'm sure you'll bet heavy here, just because there's not much going on with these two teams in terms of the betting odds.
Yeah, it's hard to trust the Chargers from the last time we saw them when they got beat down by the Jaguars, and to have this big of a line at home, I'm with you, Vic. I'm gonna actually use my stay away power here. It's just too big of a line here. But I get why they got this number because the Raiders have been horrendous. The Raiders have pretty much given up. They have issues with the coaching. Maybe you know Pete Carroll is a dead man walking. People maybe don't want to play for Pete Carroll. I don't know what's going on. He keeps firing everybody. So they're a mess there. It'll be funny. If or for the Chargers' sake, they should remember the last time their coach was a dead man walking. They got
Yeah,
destroyed on Thursday Night Football, and then Staley got fired. Go return the favor and
yeah,
embarrass the Raiders and get Pete Carroll fired. Uh, remember that, Chargers. But it's tough for me to take this number. Obviously, I'm not taking the Raiders. I'm not going to pick them to win. Obviously, I'm going to take the Chargers to win outright. It's just the number's too high. I do not trust their O line. I know Max Crosby is a one man show, but he's capable of destroying this offensive line. Um, I'm not sure Hampton's coming back. I'm gonna check out what's up Bolts for an update on Amari Hampton. I know his window just started for the 21 days coming off the IR. But the O line is still the O line. Maybe they adjusted schematically in the bye week. I don't know, but I don't buy it. I'm not gonna put my money on this team right now, especially after what happened to Jacksonville. That was a pathetic showing right there. I know we got a lot of Charger listeners here, and they're gonna check this out eventually. But to me, they're gonna win. I'm not gonna deny that. It's just I
yep.
don't think they're gonna win in style. And if you don't win in style against the Raiders, oh man, your schedule gets difficult. You got the Texans and the Broncos and the Chiefs and the Cowboys. Good luck. But if they beat down this team, cover and handle business, maybe there's hope here for actual a playoff run here.
Yeah, I'm with you here. I mean, if you're the Chargers, you just want to take care of business. That's why I said that game against the Jaguars was a must win because the rest of the schedule just gets tougher, and then you lose a tiebreaker to a team also looking to be in the playoffs. You don't want to have to lose a tiebreaker now, and now it's just about taking care of business. I mean, I'm with you. That line is super big. There is 9.5. I'm not touching this game in terms of betting wise. I'm with you. The Chargers should take care of business here and just you're coming off a bye. Make sure I think the way you should approach this game is You want to be able to show your physicality in this game against the Raiders, who are looking to next year. You just want to make sure you get out of a division game healthy for the playoff run here, the stretch run, I should say, because it's just going to get tougher after here. So just take care of business and win this game. And I'm with you. I wouldn't be surprised if it is a blowout, but we don't know when it comes to divisional games. I mean, these games can be
Yeah.
I can go either way, and so that's why I'm just not going to touch this in terms of the betting market.
Yeah, that's the rule too. I can't take the Chargers because they're laying more than 3.5 against division rival. I know division rival sucks, but I'm not doing it.
Yeah. All right, Gilbert, let's move on to the other LA team here for our LA betting market. You have the Rams traveling to the Carolina Panthers. The Rams are 10-point favorites here. The over-under is 44.5. And I guess to me is this a high a big of a number to kind of stay away as well? Or are you just like, hey, the Rams are rolling, you just continue to ride the Rams? They're what, 8-3, I believe, against the spread
Yeah,
now.
best record
So
against the spread in the NFL.
yeah, yep,
Uh, yeah, something kind of gives me, trap game vibes for the spread, not for the Rams. I think they're going to handle business handily. But everybody's going to be on like, look what we saw with the Rams destroying the Buccaneers. And everyone's going to be like, look at the Panthers sucking ass against the 49ers. And it's like, take my money now. 10 looks like nothing. Like this should be maybe 13.5. So I get that from that standpoint. Uh, I'll take it. I'll bet on the Rams here to cover. Like they look that dominant. I think they are the best team in football, and we're gonna discuss that topic on House of Horns. So check that out. But I'm just not the type of person that runs to the ticket counter or get my mobile app to bet on a heavy favorite by double digits. I just don't really like to do that. So because I also think about like, that's how they want to get you when it comes to odds. And it's like, oh, the Rams look good. Oh, the Panthers, they look terrible. And the Panthers who are a crappy, inconsistent dog shit team. I don't care. I'm so frustrated with that team. What they do though is they have one crappy game and then one better game. One crappy game, one better game.
yep.
And they're gonna be at home. They're gonna try to do better because that's part of the cycle. And they're 6-6 for a reason because they're a 500 crappy team that likes to go good, bad. Maybe they have a backdoor cover here and they show some kind of fight. They're gonna lose regardless. But I'll be shocked if the Rams lose this game. By the way, but I can see a backdoor cover and maybe a better effort at home after shit in the bed on prime time. It was your first game to be in front of America and say, you know what, we're the different franchise. Nope, you're the same franchise. So maybe they play better at a 10 a.m. spot where nobody's caring, nobody gives a crap about them. I'm just trying to bash this team as many ways as I can, but I'm staying away. But maybe Victor, you feel more confident. I'm okay with that. It's just the line's too big for me.
Yeah, I kind of been thinking about this and I'm like, yeah, just continue to ride, the momentum right now. But, as we'll talk about on House of Horns, I think some of the injuries, plus I think you're just trying to make sure that you just take care of business. You win a game out on the East Coast, a 10 a.m. game. It just feels like one of those games where last week against the Buccaneers, they threw the ball out. I I'll give you one thing here that I was kind of saving for House of Horns, and is the fact that they elevated a tight end to the official roster today, which kind of tells me that they want to run more 13 personnel the next 2 weeks against the Panthers and the Panthers and the Cardinals the next 2 weeks, and that's because they want to make sure they're healthy for the stretch run there,
Yep.
Gilbert. And so I think in this game it's the Panthers will cover, but the Rams will win this game. Just because it just feels like it's one of those games where Sean McVay is just going to prioritize
Yep.
the health of the team, getting out of there healthy, and just being able to run the ball, run clock, and then get out of there with the 3 to 6 point win.
That's a great point because yeah, you get the crappy Panthers and then you get the even crappier Cardinals, and then you got to play a pivotal matchup against Seattle on a Thursday. and then you get, or no, it's Detroit at home,
Detroit.
and then you get the freaking Seahawks on a Thursday. Where these are two physical teams, so you better be healthy and ready for that 2 game stretch. So good point by you.
Yeah, and one more thing I wanted to I was looking at the numbers. You have to be in terms of the weeks you're out on IR, right? It has to be 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was funny that I started doing I started doing the count, and I realized that those 3 guys that went on IR last week all would be eligible to come back against the Lions or the Seahawks. So
Hmm,
maybe there was something there. We'll see.
that's
We'll
true.
find out. Uh, but that does it for our big batch of games we're gonna go over. Now we head over to our Super Dog contest pick of the week. Last week I got the Texans over the Bills right. You that's 2 straight weeks you gotten shut out. I got lucky there with the Texans against the Bills. I got the 10 points for the cover and the straight win. But Gilbert, this is a new week for you. I do like your pick here, so I'm gonna give you the floor here for your pick for the Super Dog and explain what we do here with these picks.
Yeah. So we take one dog that's it's getting spotted 4.5 points or more, but Victor and I have been going higher than that, so that's kind of a cool thing we do. We do here probably maybe the lowest we've gone is 5.5. I'm not even sure if we've gotten to 5.5. Usually 6 and above, but the rule is 4.5. That's okay. And I've been struggling here, so I'm gonna take a chance. But again, I like the numbers on all the holiday games, the 4 games, the 3 on Thanksgiving and the 1 Black Friday game. And yeah, no one's gonna give the Bears a chance here, but that's when I like the numbers. When the narrative is saying like, "Oh, this team is soft, this team is a surprise, they're frauds, this and that." The Eagles are at home, they're pissed off, they let one get away, they're gonna be angry. So you get a value number. I'm cool, +7 for a matchup between 2 8-3 teams. I'll take it. I'll take the +7. I'm not saying the Bears are gonna win, but the Eagles have been looked really rocky offensively. I know they did beat up on the Lions and they covered that one. Uh, you know, and they were the dogs somehow against Green Bay. So they've been handling business when it comes to the line, besides last week against the Cowboys. And I know they're going to be pissed off. But to me, I'm going to take a chance here with the Bears. I think the defense is not the best for Chicago, but they know how to turn over the ball. And when you have some issues there with Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown, maybe they force one for you and you got to pick. They are able to run the football better. They have a balanced attack. They can't figure out which one to go with, Monangai or Swift. That might bite them on the ass. Pick one already. But they have 2 guys who are capable. And then you Caleb Williams has been able to play within the scheme. He's been able to get structure. I like that. He's fine on saying, "Let me go YOLO and show off my skill set." You do have the skill set, Caleb Williams, but as you've learned that your first year and a half in the league, it's like it's not that simple. You need the game to slow down. He still misses a lot of throws, but he's not out there erratic. He protects the football. When you're gonna face a very difficult defense like Vic Fangio, and I know he's not Dak Prescott. He does not have the horses like Dak does to maybe pick apart this defense. But I just like that he's playing within the scheme. He's trusting his playmakers. So I'm gonna take a chance here.
Yeah, I really like it, and I think the key here for this matchup is gonna be the Bears. I think they're like top 10 offense going up against a top 10 defense in the Philadelphia Eagles. I kind of want to see. I know Ben Johnson has been really good this year with this offense, and I know not a lot of people want to give them credit for all the one score wins, but eventually, like for this season, man, the way it's been chaotic all over the league, I mean, it's just the way things have gone this year. So I'm with you. I mean, why not? I if you it's not a bad bet. I mean, they've won all these games by less than a score. I'm sure they'll keep it within a score. I I think the only game they got blown out of is the Lions game. So
Yeah.
they've been in games the whole season. So I'm with you. I like the +7 here for the Bears. Moving on here, Gilbert, I'm going to take the Tennessee Titans at home at plus
Ooh.
6.5 against the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I told you my rule. I got to take, if you're going to give me more than 6.5 on a home team, I'm going to take them. Uh, uh, and with the Tennessee Titans, last time I took them, was against the Texans.
Yeah.
Jacksonville hasn't proven anything. I think they're still going to win this game, but Trevor Lawrence, we just had a big discussion on Compas on the Beat yesterday about Trevor Lawrence and how much he's got to stake the rest of the season because he might not be Leon Cohen's guy, and he threw 3 interceptions against a bad Cardinals team. This is Tennessee Titans defense is underrated. They're playing a lot better. Cam Ward is playing a lot better. He played really well last week, and so I can see this game. And it's a divisional game. What's our rule? If it's more than 3, we stay away. But you're giving me 6.5 here for
Mhm.
the home team. I'm taking it here with the Titans. They're starting to look better and better as the season goes on. These are the kind of teams you kind of want to be aware of, especially in the division. So I'm taking them here at 6.5 for the Titans.
Yeah, it's bold, and I like your rule because it's been paying off for you getting a heavy dog at home. And I've been going the other way, and I've been getting burned. But I just can't put my money on the Tennessee. But they've been playing better, like you mentioned. I criticize the Raiders for quitting, and I'm like, look at the Tennessee Titans, man. They fought against the freaking uh was the Texans, and who did they play last week that they kept it close? Oh, Seahawks. They actually lost
Yep.
by 6 points. They covered.
Yep.
So they've been covering here. I just can't bring myself to do it. But hey, it's all about what you're seeing and what's the real narrative. And they have been fighting. So hey, divisional matchup. Jacksonville just choked away a lead to Houston not too long ago. Jacksonville, almost lost to Arizona. I think they ended up covering because they went into overtime. Or maybe it was a push. I think
Well,
Victor.
I'm glad you brought that up, Gilbert, because I wanted to ask you what that means because it was actually a push, and I didn't score it. I just left it at 0 because I didn't want to take the push. I'm like, I feel dirty taking the push there.
Yeah, I think you did the right approach. You just get your money back. I think the push for a super dog is fine because
No, it
that's
wasn't Super Dog. It was one of our best bets,
okay.
and I
Yeah,
think it was like,
that will be a 0. But if you get a push on the super dog, you get 1 point. So
yep,
I'm cool with that. With
yep.
what you did there. So yeah, you did the right approach there. But yeah, that kind of shows you they have not been handling business. To your point.
No. Yeah, and that's why. All right, Gilbert. So because of what you just said, I'm glad you said what you said in terms of our scoring there, because I did get a push there, and so I just marked it as 0. I felt dirty even giving myself any points there just because of what happened there with the Cardinals and Jaguars. So now for the season, that 10-pointer really helped me out because you went 3-2. You did really well last week on your best bets. I went 1-3-1 last week. And so that gets us up to 128 points for me. And then you have 123 for the season. So
Yeah,
yeah, we're neck and neck here, but I got lucky with that 10-pointer on the super dog. So the the Texans came in clutch for me. All right, Gilbert, let's get to our betting locks of the week, our best bets of the week. As we said, you went 3-2. I win 1-3-1. What do you got for us this week? Well, let's start off with your number 5.
yeah. I'll be quick because some of these games I already talked about. But again, I
Yep.
like a lot of pluses this week, and I'm going all plus. I know that sometimes burns me, but whatever. Packers plus 2.5, 2.5 against the Lions. Obviously, I would like a +3, but I'll take the number here. No complaints.
All right, number 4. I ended up
Uh,
switching mine because I saw yours. By the way, I this
okay.
game I had it the other way. I switched it because I wanted you to talk about it.
I thought we were gonna go against each other. That would have been fine. But you know, I'm going with the Jets here +2.5. You know, they did actually cover against the Ravens. They weren't that good, but they covered against the Ravens. And my thing with them with the Jets is like they burned me 1 week and I couldn't go back to them, but I actually liked the +13.5 against Baltimore last week, and I just couldn't bring myself to do it. I'm kicking myself for it. And then I saw that the Jets are actually 7-4 against the spread. I'm like, okay, they've been competitive. They've been probably a dog in every game. And then you get to face Kirk Cousins, who's throwing ducks out there, no Drake London, and you're at home and you're still fighting for Aaron Glenn. I'm okay with this. I'm not too confident, but I'll take +2.5 here for against the
What's
Falcons.
What's weird about the Jets, Gilbert, is that their defense is playing better
Yeah,
without Quinn Williams
I
and
saw
without
those
Sauce
stats.
Gardner. So
They just
maybe
they
they
probably
knew
just cut the fat.
something.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just kind of like let's get the guys who want to be here and let's get guys out of here.
Yeah, and sometimes you want to get your guys and you play your guys. I mean, that's the way to
Yeah.
go. All right, Gilbert, number 3.
Yeah, Cowboys plus 2.5. We were in agreement this one. I don't know if the Cowboys could win outright, but I like what I've been seeing to keep it close.
Yeah, this is the one we're both locked in on.
Yeah, I don't feel confident, but I'm just gonna bet on that defense. It's a lot of points here, plus 4.5, and you get the home team here. Maybe that should have been. I was thinking about for my super dog, but we've been going 4.5, so I would have felt dirty if I kept that one. But I like what Miles Garrett is doing. Brock Purdy has been not that great, so maybe they get a pick six or two and they're in the game. I worry about Shadur Sanders. Credit to Robert Saleh for finding something in that defense after losing Nick Bosa and Fred Warner. They're just playing off the second there, and they've been pretty feisty. They've been ball hawking. So to me, it could be a rough day for Shadur, but he doesn't have to worry about pressure, and maybe that could help him find the rhythm.
Yeah, and they're just honestly like he's being well coached. If I'm being completely honest, like they're making sure he's able to make the throws he can make, and so I'll get to it when I get to mine when it's my turn. All right, you're number 1.
Yeah, and this is the last one from the holiday slate. I'm going all pluses here for the holiday slate. I'll take the Bengals plus 7. I think the Joe Burrow bump is going to give them energy. You get Jamar Chase back. But this is more about I don't like what I've been seeing from Baltimore. Lamar Jackson has struggled actually in every game he's came back. He looked great against Miami the first game back, but let's not forget the first half he struggled. Second half he picked it up, and then every game ever since Minnesota, Cleveland, Jets, he has struggled big time. He can't even crack 200 passing yards. So to me, you need to have your best day with the pass attack because you have to face Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow, and we know these guys like to go off against Baltimore.
Yeah, and honestly, Gilbert, the last time he was really, really good was the game against the Bills. He has not been good all season outside of that game. If you
Yeah.
look at the numbers, they've been really bad, as you mentioned. There's probably been one game, the one you mentioned, but outside of that, it's been pretty bad. And I like that +7 too. I was it was between the Bengals and the but I'm like I can't get behind Joe Burrow coming
Yeah.
back on a Thursday night.
Yeah.
I'm like I'm not taking a chance there. Um, but they seem to always face each other on Thursday night, which Burrow hates. All right, Gilbert, my week 13 best 5 bets. I'm going to start off with my number 5. I got the Bills here at -3.5. Last time these two teams faced each other, it was a blowout. The Steelers look like they're starting to fall apart. Even if Aaron Rodgers plays, I like the Bills in this game. I don't like them the rest of the season, but in this game to cover a 3.5, I can see that Josh Allen, like he needs to put that team on. I think he's going to put that team on his back in this game and just go YOLO and get them to a win. Gilbert.
Yeah, I like this one. The Bills are a little tricky. I feel like every time they lose, they tend to play better the following week. So maybe that could be the case here.
Yep. And I mean, you're not going to see the Texans defense here. So
Yeah,
the
that's it.
Steelers aren't as good on defense as the Texans. So I know they have edge rushers just like but it's not the same. I mean, it's just and then physically they just beat them up every meeting now. So I like the Bills in this game. My number 4 is that Browns game we talked about. And Gilbert, if you look at the past now, when it comes to the Browns and the 49ers, Jim Schwartz just has
Oh
Kyle
yeah,
Shanahan's number here. And remember, he pulled up an upset a couple years ago when the 49ers went to the Super Bowl. The 49ers went into Cleveland and they lost. It was a big upset. Not a lot of people remember that, but Jim Schwartz, for whatever reason, he's got Kyle Shanahan's number. And like I said, I like Kevin Stefanski, what he did in terms of how he used Shador Sanders. They made sure they gave him little things to do so that way he didn't put the ball in harm's way. Yeah, he threw one interception there, but I mean that was a great defensive play by the defender on the Raiders. And so, look, I think the difference between him and what the other quarterback provides is the fact that he can get the ball down the field. And I think If you're able to do that, you can push the ball down the field against this 49ers defense. It's going to keep you in the game. So that's why I like this game here for the Browns. My number three, Gilbert, is I got the Texans at plus 4.5. I love this one. I would have made it higher, but I like the other two better. My number two, I ended up switching it. I like the Dolphins here at minus 5.5 against the Saints. It feels like again like they traded away a player, and it seems like they've kind of rallied around Mike McDaniel, and so don't be surprised if they make it. They're to me the Dolphins are kind of like the Cowboys of the AFC, where you might see them make a run here for the towards the playoffs. They're not going to make it because they're too far behind, but they're gonna not only save Mike McDaniel's job, but I think they're playing for next year, and they want to make sure they end the season in a good way. There, Gilbert. I don't know if you have anything to say about the
Yeah.
Dolphins.
I actually like this one, but then I just couldn't get behind the number. But you're right, Miami is playing better. The Saints are not playing; they're not being competitive. So it's just minus 5.5 for a losing team. It was a little hard for me to get around. But you have it in a good spot for a 2 pointer or a 1 pointer. That's probably what I would have gone. But I just like too many pluses this week. But I was like, should I get one minus? And I was thinking about that when I'm like, I can't go that high for Miami.
Yeah, and then my number one here is the Buccaneers minus 2.5 versus the Cardinals. I changed this one at the last minute when I saw that Bucky Irving is going to play this
Yeah.
week. So even if Baker Mayfield doesn't go, I feel confident in what they have out there that they can provide for Teddy Bridgewater against this Cardinals team that just seems to be, getting ready for next year. And I assume Jonathan Gannon's going to get let go as long as this game isn't an embarrassment, it's not on national TV. Most coaches get fired if you get embarrassed on national TV. This isn't on national TV. So if this game is competitive, which I think it will be, I think Jonathan Gallon's going to be fine. But it just feels like this team is already giving up on him.
Yeah, just lean on your three running backs, Bucky Irvin, Sean Tucker, and Rashad White, and win that way. But don't get in a shootout because you don't have the quarterback because Brissett has been on fire. The way he's just been using Michael Wilson and Greg Dortch, like, don't get in a shootout. But you run the football, control the clock, you'll be fine.
Yep, I'm with you. All right, Gilbert. We have no bye teams on this week in week 13, and then we're gonna go quickly here with our quick hitters. We have the Minnesota Vikings at the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks are 11.5 point favorites. The over under is 41.5. And I know we got to run here, but where are you at on the whole JJ McCarthy thing? It sounds like he's not going to play in this game, but are you out on JJ McCarthy?
It's way too early. He has not been good. I think it's gotten to the point where Minnesota has to accept the fact that he needs to develop. You used the first round pick on him. Yeah, you're wasting a season. This roster was ready to go after winning 14 games last year. But that's what you decided to do. You had Daniel Jones and Sam Darnold. Now you got to live with the consequences. You can't just bail on the guy to try to win meaningless games. You're not going to go to the playoffs. So, and then it just doesn't help that he's not even available. People have been joking that Kevin O'Connell made him sit and he doesn't have any concussion. I think that's dumb. But he's had the ankle injury. He's had the torn ACL his rookie year, another concussion. You're not good. You're not available. Ask Anthony Richardson what happened to him. It's going to probably happen to McCarthy if he keeps going this way.
Yeah, and this is the problem with the NFL is that they're not here to develop quarterbacks. They want you to be developed coming out of college. This is why it's so important to have the stars. I feel like and look, I get it. Jim Harbaugh is a great coach, but I just don't feel like he developed him in college. All they did was run the ball. They didn't
Mhm.
put him like in situations where he could be developed, and that's sometimes you hide those things, and you're just not ready to go. He's also the youngest quarterback out there in the league. I think when he came in, he was still 20 years old. So I wouldn't give up on him. I'm with you. You need time to develop him. I would have kept some of those quarterbacks around just in case. But hey, they when you spend for a first round pick on a quarterback, you got to play by the first or second year, or else you're a bust. So I just feel bad. But I'm taking the Seahawks here.
Yeah.
This might get ugly quickly here.
S-
And
Same here. But
Yeah.
but I'll say this: if this other rookie guy, I'm blanking on his name, Bosmer Bromer, if he does
Yeah.
better than JJ McCarthy, that's going to tell you a lot.
Timothy Chalamet,
Yeah, the lookalike. Yeah,
bro. The Timothy Chalamet lookalike there. I will see. I mean, it seems like everybody. And see, this is why I always. This is my little pet peeve. All the local reporters are saying, "Yeah, he's been ready for this. He's been getting ready," and I'm like, I want to see it because I fought for the local reporter guys who tell me stuff like this, and then he ends up crapping out, and it's not a great way to start in Seattle going up against the
yeah.
12s there. So it's going to be tough, but good luck to him there. The next one is the Denver Broncos. Oh, I
Oh,
got
it's
the wrong one.
Commanders. Yeah.
The Commanders here. Sorry about that. And they're 5.5 point favorites here. Let me change that for you. Go ahead and let me know where you're at with this one.
Yeah, I thought this number would be higher. Is I don't think there's a chance Jaden Daniels plays. I know the Commanders are coming
He
off.
practiced, but they're not expecting him to play.
Yeah, and then they're coming off a bye week, and they're the home team. And I know Denver doesn't really do well when they're laying that many points, but I'll take Denver here at 5.5. It's not like 6.5 or 7.5. They have a good defense. Commanders don't have anything good right now, so I think this is one where I'm okay with taking a lot of points for Denver. I know they've been pretty inconsistent and rocky, uh, but they've been finding the group. They're also coming off a bye week too, so that kind of cancels out each other. So I'll go with Denver minus 5.5.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm gonna go with the Denver Broncos here as well, and probably take the under here. I just don't see a lot of points in this game. All right, last one: the New York Giants against going up to New England. The Patriots are 7.5 point favorites. The over under here is 46.5.
I'll take the Patriots here, but I'm not too confident that to lay the 7.5 because the Giants they blow their leads, but they at least they're in games. They took the Lions to overtime, so I think they'll come back down to earth for this one, and Patriots handle business.
Yeah, I think the Giants and the Raiders are in they're trying to see who can fire the most coordinators. Both of them have fired two coaches now. We'll see who gets
Yeah,
the next one to get fired here. Um, I like the Giants in this game, Gilbert. To keep it close, I don't think they'll win outright. I mean, and one more thing here, Gilbert. I know we got this is our last game here, but would you play Jackson Dart at it any more this season, or would you just write it out with Jameis Winston?
uh, I will play Dart. He's your rookie. Again, same thing with McCarthy. You got to develop him and keep going. So, but he's got to protect himself. He keeps going into concussion protocol. Keeps going into the blue tent. But yeah, it kind of shows you that I don't know what Brian Dable was thinking, trying to go with Russell Wilson. Winston was a better option. So, and that's a credit to Mike Kafka. He's actually getting something out of him.
Yeah, I would not be surprised. I know we haven't talked about it, but if Mike Kafka gets the job there,
Yeah,
just because they really like him there. If you let him go, I feel like he's next in line. But you've talked about it. You usually don't want to. If he's a candidate guy, you don't want to give him the job because then it makes you look bad. But it just feels like with him, it's the other way around. He might actually impress and end up keeping the job.
yeah, I'm with you. So if they like him, go ahead and promote him. And especially you got the same GM here, so and you
Yep.
want to have continuity for the rookie quarterback too.
Yeah, especially since it's an offensive coordinator, not a special teams guy or a defensive coach. So it makes a lot of sense. All right, Gilbert, that's it. I know we went a little long, but we had a little bit of extra time. We talked a little bit about Thanksgiving, and so I wanted to make sure we gave everybody something to kind of think about and talk about in terms of our Thanksgiving and the food. But yeah, Gilbert, just thankful for you and everything that we do here, the Compas and everybody that watches and listens. It's been a good year. We just continue. We have to continue on, and can't wait for the rest of the season. But it's good. We're at a good point right now on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, no, happy Thanksgiving to everybody, and also thankful for you, Victor, and Fernando, and Dan, and everything that everybody's doing here on Compass on the Beat. Yeah, can't believe we're already here at the back end of the year, and you know, getting ready for Super Bowl ready to roll in Santa Clara in February. But yeah, it's a good time here on Compass on the Beat. So check out everything we're doing from Lunes Live to Four Compass on Tuesday, to the betting show here, Game Week with the Compass, to the Chargers and Rams channels that we have, House of Horns and What's Up Boats. check out everything. We're staying busy. We're trying to provide as much information on the NFL side as possible, and also have a couple of laughs here every now and then. So time to get going. Enjoy Thanksgiving. Enjoy your time with your loved ones. Enjoy the games. Make some money. Win some fantasy football matchups. On that note, ya nos vamos, pues. Vámonos.